Hey guys, Marco the dog trainer here. Today we're going to be taking a closer look at the Dogtra 280c and the Dogtra IQ Plus. So generally speaking, the 280c is marketed as a medium dog electronic collar, and the IQ Plus is marketed as a small dog electronic collar. Now, both of these collars can actually be used on a variety of different sizes, but let's just generally kind of assume this is the small dog collar, this is the medium dog collar. Now, anytime that I'm working with a smaller dog, the question in my mind is going to be which one of these two do I want to go with? The main difference between the two of them is going to be the strength of stimulation and the distance that the remote connects to the collar. The collar itself is almost the same exact size for both of them. So we don't really have to worry too much about how the collar fits as much as, the stimulation and how far away from our dogs we're going to be. So let's take a closer look at the functions and features and the similarities and differences so that way we can help you kind of figure out which one is going to work better for you and your pup. Okay, guys, we've got the Dogtra IQ Plus system over here, and we've got the Dogtra 280 system over here. So let's just start with some similarities. So both collars are a very, very similar size. I mean, the 280 might be a hair bigger, but not anything that's really going to make that big of a difference. Both collars are going to come with a strap that's probably longer than what you need. So most people are going to end up cutting off a good chunk of that extra collar, so it kind of fits their dog a little more appropriately. Both collars are going to have the adjustable contact points, so you can add longer or shorter points on to kind of fit your dog's fur. And both of these collars are going to be turned on the same way, that they kind of use this magnet system instead of an on and off button. So basically you just take the red dot on the back of the remote and you're just going to hold it up to the red dot on the collar, and that's what turns it on and off. They're both going to blink green, telling you that it's on and that it's charged. If they ever start blinking orange or red, that's how you know that the collar itself is starting to die. Now, as far as the remote similarities go, okay, they're both going to have some really similar options. So they both have a vibrate feature. So on the 280, it's going to be this front button, and on the IQ, it's going to be the P at the bottom. They both are going to have the Nick setting, which is going to be this Braille N on the side of the 280 or the top button on the IQ. And then they both have a continuous setting that on the IQ, it's going to be this kind of C in the middle. And on the 280, it's going to be this kind of blank button, the lower button. Now, let's start talking about some differences. So as far as the remotes go, the IQ, as long as it is charged, is always going to be turned on. The 280, you're going to have to specifically turn the remote on. Now, the next kind of big difference is the way that we can set the stimulation. So on the IQ, we've kind of just got this dial here that whatever level is above this light or whatever number, that's what setting it's on. So it's not very, very exact, but you can definitely get a sense of what level you've got it on, okay? Where the 280 has got this nice digital screen, so you can really adjust it exactly where you want it to be. So definitely a little bit more precise. Okay, now another thing that's probably good to note is that the 280 remote gives you a sense of the battery life on the remote, where the IQ Plus, there's not really going to be any indication that this is dying. The light will start to turn like red or orange whenever you're pressing it as it's starting to die, but definitely not going to have as much of a heads up on the lifespan of this one versus this one, or at least the battery life. Now, another key difference here is that the IQ system, the IQ Plus, always comes with the option to be upgraded to a second dog or a 2-dog system. So we've got collar 2, collar 1. So that can be kind of nice because that way you can just buy a second collar and hook it up to this system. And it's one of the cheapest ways to set up a 2-dog system. Where the 280, right out of the box, does not come with that option. But you could, if you knew you had 2 dogs, they have what's called the 282. And that's a system that comes with a remote that has a couple extra buttons on it and a second collar. So that way you could use it as a 2-dog system. But let's say you have one dog and you already had the 280 and you're getting a second dog. Well, then you would have to call Dogtra and pay them, and you could send them the remote and they'll kind of fix it and add in a couple buttons for you. So that way you could buy a second collar to connect to it. Okay, now some other kind of key differences is the strength of stimulation. So 100 on here is not as strong as 100 on here. And then another big difference is going to be the distance that they connect from remote to collar. So the remote on the IQ Plus works up to 400 yards away. And then on the 280, the remote connects up to a half mile away. And the last kind of big difference here is going to be, okay, so both of them come with the lanyard standard, okay, but the 280 comes with the option to put on a clip, so the clip comes in the box. I always prefer to wear it on my pocket, but at least with this system, you have the choice if you prefer one or the other, where the IQ system, unfortunately, does not come with any clip or any way to put on a clip. So if you're not a lanyard person, that can be a little bit annoying. But outside of that, I mean, those are really the two, the main similarities and differences between these two. Now, let's jump back over to some pros and cons of the two systems, so that way we can kind of pinpoint which one is going to work better for your particular situation. Okay, guys, before we wrap up this video, let's just kind of talk about the advantages to the IQ versus the advantages to the 280. So that way we can kind of pinpoint what considerations we should be thinking about if we're picking between these two. So the advantages of the IQ is, first and foremost, it's just cheaper, and it's always good to save money. I like that. Okay, two, that the remote is pretty tiny. It's actually one of the smallest remotes out of all of these models that I talk about. And that can be kind of nice. You can put it in your back pocket or your side pocket, and it's not like really big and bulky and a nuisance. And then the third thing that I really, really like about the IQ system is that it's easily upgraded into a 2-dog system. So those are really the main advantages of this system. Now, the 280 system, the first thing that I really like about it is it's a stronger collar. And that's nice because it gives you a bigger variety of dogs that you can use it with. The second thing that I like about the 280 is that it connects from further away. So this one, again, is a half mile from collar to remote, and this one is only 400 yards. Okay, now the third thing that I really like about the 280 versus the IQ Plus is that the 280 is as waterproof as this electronic equipment can be, just like most of the other models that Dogtra offers. Where the IQ Plus, I don't remember what the exact limitation is, but I do know that the IQ system is slightly less waterproof than everything else. And then the last advantage to the 280 system is going to be the digital display on the remote. That, again, it's nice to be able to really precisely set what level the stimulation is at. It's nice to have that backlit screen, so that way if you're going for a walk late at night, you can see what you're doing. And this remote also comes with that option for the clip, so you could wear it on your pocket or something, more like that if that suits you better. Now, I would break down the main considerations that we want to be thinking about here. Is, okay, one, is how strong does this collar need to be for my dog? Again, you can find comparable levels on here that are equal to levels on here, but if you want that slightly stronger edge, you're probably going to want to go with the 280. How far away do I see myself being from my dog? So again, half a mile here, 400 yards here. So if you want that extra safety net, if your dog is, getting kind of far away from you, then this may be the better route. How wet do I see my collar getting? Because again, if you've got a dog that loves swimming and running through water and things like that, may want to go with the waterproof option. Okay, then the fourth thing is going to be how much do I care about the digital display? You know, do I care if I'm just kind of spinning a dial that doesn't have a light, or is it really nice to have that feature? And then the last thing I would kind of consider is, do I see myself getting a second dog or needing a second collar? And now again, that last one, the 2 dog system piece, I'm not gonna say that's gonna make or break which system I'm gonna go with, because obviously if you've got 2 dogs and they need stronger, bigger collars, there are better options for that. But you know, let's just say hypothetically, we've got some dogs that either of these systems would work for them. It is nice that this system automatically comes with that option to be upgraded, because it can be a little easier and a little less expensive. So those are probably the main considerations you want to think about between these 2 different models. I'm going to continue to make videos of small dog collars and things like that, comparing and contrasting things to help you guys figure out exactly, you know, what's going to work best for you. So as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.